So I give you a little bit of an idea about secondaries. We're going to go to the next video and do another version of this. Sit back, sit tight, relax and get comfortable. Enjoy the ride. Not so fast. We still got more on this one. Let's watch this through a bit more before we move to the next video, okay? Any questions, just throw in chat, please.
Confirmed penetration. Enemy severely damaged.
Relax and get comfortable. Enjoy the ride. Michael J, a.k.a. Swifty, glad you could join us. Sit back, sit tight, relax and get comfortable. Enjoy the ride. Michael J, a.k.a. Swifty, glad you could join us. Sit back, sit tight, relax and get comfortable. Enjoy the ride. Michael J, a.k.a. Swifty, glad you could join us. Sit back, sit tight, relax and get comfortable. Enjoy the ride. Michael J, a.k.a. Swifty, glad you could join us. Sit back, sit tight, relax and get comfortable. Enjoy the ride. Michael J, a.k.a. Swifty, glad you could join us. Sit back, sit tight, relax and get comfortable. Enjoy the ride. Okay, what we're going to do here now is go to Sea Lord Mountbatten. Now, this is going to be his first video based on his first impressions of gameplay. So let me know in the comments what you think.
Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. Still fighting my allergies, so I apologize if I sound a bit weird in this video. Again, like I've been saying for the past couple of days, it's that time of the year. Allergies are just acting all up and all stuffy and stuff. But anyway, in port, we have the brand new Tier 10 Premium Italian. It's kind of super cruiser. I'm not sure if this is classified as a super cruiser or extremely heavy cruiser. Napoli to review for you guys today. Now, before we even get going here, of course, massive shout out to the Patreons for helping me get this ship to review for you guys. And that's something I want to talk about here too in a minute. But anyway, Patreon dudes, thank you so much for supporting the channel and allowing this to happen. This ship is of course available for coal, but also is the second tier 10 that's available to outright purchase. And it's quite expensive in that matter. So again, thanks to those guys whose names are up on screen right now for supporting the channel and making this review
come back
possible.
to life.
On that same note, selling tier 10 ships. When the ARP Yamato came out, I was not a big fan of that because it's a slippery slope to start going down. And here we are, not even a year later, and we've got our next tier 10 that's outright available for cash. Now, there have been tier 10s in the past which are kind of available to buy, like the Puerto Rico and some of the other dockyard ships. You know, you could kind of buy those outright for doubloons, but you're not really supposed to. That's kind of like the alternative way to get it. And I guess you could say that here too in the case of the Napoli, because she is available first and foremost for coal, for 252,000 coal, which I would strongly recommend everyone takes that route. Now I understand there are people that simply don't have time to grind up that much coal and such, and that would take even someone like me that takes me months to get that much coal, and I play this game almost every single day, so I understand why it'll be attractive to have an option for those that don't have the time to grind but perhaps have the money to get these ships. But if you are in that category, I would recommend you at least grind to tier 10 first in the Italian cruiser line, or in a line in general, so you have an idea of how tier 10 is. And I would not buy this ship outright if you have no experience, and that's another issue that this presents. You know, people who get on, they get their credit card on here, and then they just throw money at the game, and then boom, they have a tier 10 ship, and they're playing tier 10 without ever having any higher tier experience. I know people say that doesn't happen, but I promise you it does. We've seen that with tier 8 premiums, tier 9 premiums. Now we're probably going to see this with these tier 10 premiums, because this is probably just the beginning of it. Since this is probably just the beginning of it, I'm sure we'll be seeing more tier 10s outright for sale here in the future. So we're on this path, and I don't think Wargaming is going to turn away from it, and we'll see where it takes us, and who knows where it's going to go. I'm sure many of you have many strong opinions about that, but that's what I'll say about this being a tier 10 ship that's straight up for sale. And the rest of this video, I'm just going to be talking about this ship as it is. Alright, so I just purchased this ship. No modules or captain skills have been applied, so let's go ahead and take a look at her base stats. So we'll start with her armor layout. She has a 25mm bow, 60mm icebreaker bow, 60mm upper belt, 220mm main belt, 25mm stern, and 60mm belt. Mid deck is 40mm, bow deck is 25mm, stern deck is 25mm, superstructure is 16mm. Turrets face at 250mm, sides are 125 and 100, and rears are 120. Alright, let's take a look at her citadel. She's actually pretty darn well armored here in the center section. That 60mm up belt and that 220mm main belt. That's actually the same thickness of the Borodino's main belt, now that I'm thinking about it. Alright, citadel is... oh, is that kind of turtlebacky? It is turtlebacky, look at that. So you've got some slope going on here. It's 30mm, actually more than the Italian battleships. That's funny that this thing has a thicker armed citadel slope than the battleships, which have 25. Alright, so a little bit of turtleback going on there, which does play into this ship's main feature. So the artillery, you get 9 254mm guns with a 17-second base reload time, 180 time of 25.7 seconds, maximum dispersion of 178 meters base. With HE, that is correct. This is an Italian cruiser armed with HE. It has 16% chance of causing a fire. Not the best fire chance. It's on the lower-ish side for these larger caliber guns. Most of the really good flamethrowers have about 20-ish%, but I mean 16% is not bad, and this is with the base stats and such. I'm sure we can get that up. 42 millimeters of HE pin, so no need for sap. AP has a maximum damage of 6,150. HE has a maximum damage of 3,450, if I forgot to mention that. Ooh, a base maximum range of 16.3 kilometers. AP velocity of 945 meters a second, and HE velocity of 954 meters a second. Now her secondaries, which is where this ship's gimmick comes into place. These are actually the most accurate secondaries in game right now. So what they've done is they've taken the concept of a secondary cruiser, for some reason have taken it away from Siegfried and Aegir, and given it to Napoli. I know, the Italian tech tree is well known for its amazing secondaries, right? But we'll see how they work. So they pinned 26 millimeters base. They have a real time of 3.2 seconds. It is sap though, so it is quite terrifying. Maximum sap damage of 2,000. Maximum range base is 7.3 kilometers, and sap shells have an initial velocity from the 90 millimeter guns of 860 meters a second. And then you get these 152s, which are also firing sap as well. So they reload 7.2 seconds, have 42 millimeters of pin, maximum sap damage of 3,850, base range 7.3 kilometers, initial velocity of 950 meters a second. So you only get... Oh, it's the main guns. My bad. So you get 12 of the 90 millimeter guns, and then you get 12 of the 152s, so for a total of 24 guns. It has less guns than I thought it was going to have. You know, I figured when I heard this thing was a sap secondary cruiser, I figured there'd be quite a few more of these. I mean, look at this. You've got room for at least two more turrets here quite easily. Not even stacking them all one on top of each other like they do here on the Colombo. But I mean, they are sap shells, so they are quite fearsome. So we'll see. You get torpedoes. You get 8 torpedoes, 2x4 of the 533s. They reload in 95 seconds. They have a maximum range of 13.5 kilometers, almost the main battery gun range. Detectability by sea from 1.1 kilometers. That's quite good. Maximum speed of 56 knots. I believe these are the same torpedoes that the Venezia has. Are they not? They are, but you get more. Look at that. You get one more set. Okay. Oops, that's a Marco Polo. Alright, AA, you have an A rating of 65, and yeah, the 90 millimeters are dual purpose. You got some 37 millimeter guns here, and some 20s here. A's never really been the strong suit of Italian battleships or Italian cruisers, so no big surprise here. Oh yeah, 4.6 kilometer firing range. Yep, that's very Italian. Alright, top speed of 35.5 knots, turning circle radius of 750 meters. And a rush time of 12.5 seconds. Concealment base range of 12.7, which is not bad, base. And detectability by air from 9.7. Alright, let's go look at her Box O gimmicks. And there it is. We do have the exhaust smoke generator, which is very nice. What's the smoke firing penalty? Does it say? It was like the other ones. It should be, of course, quite bad. Yeah, 8.7 kilometers, 9 kilometers. Alright. We get fighter, not a spotter, no choice of switching that up, and a heal. Alrighty, y'all, we're going to go ahead and module and captain her out, and I will be right back here to go over those quirks and features once we have all that built into it. Alright, something I forgot to go over is that she does have 59,000 base hit points. I think I forgot to gloss over that, along with 22% torpedo damage reduction, but with the captain build that I just swapped over, which is my Venezia captain, she now has 63,700 hit points. So, speaking of that, let's go over a module build and then I'll show you the rest of my commander build. So, since this is a secondary ship I have built into the secondaries, that's the whole purpose of getting this ship. So naturally that's what we're going to be testing out in this video mostly. So I went with Auxiliary Armaments Mod 1. This is pretty important for just about every single secondary ship. The Germans are the only ships that really have good armor and health on their secondaries, and even they still need this skill for those secondaries to survive most of the match. I don't know what the individual mount healths are for the secondaries on the Napoli. That's not something that they readily make available, unfortunately. Then we went with Damage Con 1 because I do suspect that this ship has the battleship burn time, not the cruiser burn time, so fires suck. Secondary battery mod 1, of course, for better secondaries, more range, more accuracy. Damage con 2, fire suck. Concealment systems, because we like being stealthy. And then, of course, auxiliary armaments mod 2, which decreases the reload time on the secondary guns. And actually makes the A a little bit better too, ironically. Alright, for the commander build, I went with Last Stand, MLG turrets, consumable enhancements. It increases the action time of the crawling smoke, which is a very nice thing that this ship has. Adrenaline rush, of course. Superintendent, survivability expert, concealment expert, and top grade gunner. So this now gives the ship, like I already went over in terms of survivability, she has 63,700 hit points now, and her secondaries now go out to, oh, gotta put the secondary flag on there too, completely forgot about that. Alright, now that the signal flags are on, my bad. Alright, so the secondary range is now out to 9.2 kilometers on the 90s and on the 152s, which is shorter than I thought it'd be. I thought they'd be at least 10. And I've got all the modules and such on, and there's no other secondary skills, so yeah, that's rather disappointingly short. 9.2 kilometers, that's really close by tier 10 standards. And the 90s reload in 2.2 seconds, and the 152s reload in 4.9 seconds now. And our concealment is now down to 10.3, so it's almost your concealment range, so it might prove to be workable, especially with the smoke generator, so we'll see how that works. Maneuverability with the speed flag, our top speed is now 37.3 knots. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in the battle, and I'll meet you guys there with the review of the ship. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, the Napoli, the long-awaited Tier 10 Italian super cruiser. How is she in game, and what does she perform like? Well, the Napoli is very, 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 very amazing in engagements under 10 kilometers. The AP is great. It's got that high velocity Italian AP, which packs one heck of a punch. Any of you that have played the Italian battleships or the Italian cruisers know what I'm talking about. Kind of like the Soviet AP. It's that hyper velocity AP that can punch well above its weight, and it's great. The HE is also quite usable too, although I find it less than what you need in a lot of situations. Although it's pretty decent at starting fires, the alpha isn't fantastic, and well, it may not even be that. What it really is the dispersion of the guns. Meaning that this thing actually has worse dispersion stock than GA does. And you're probably seeing that on screen right now. But of course, when you're firing at large targets with the AP or HE, it's mostly workable. Like in this situation, this is a great situation to be in the Napoli in the match that you're watching right now. I got a lot of broadside targets to shoot at, had cover and concealment, and I was able to pump my AP and HE into what I needed to for quite some time before I was then able to charge the enemy. Meaning that this is, again, an ideal situation. This is not what you're going to be in most of the time, but I'm showing you the ship at its best right now. Anyway, so the guns are pretty good, just not very accurate, but they got that 16-second reload time, so if you can deal with not the best guns from medium to, well, not even long range, just maximum range is only 16 kilometers, then you're okay. And again, for what the ship is supposed to do, be a very close-in ship, the guns are good for that, especially, again, the AP. But speaking of the guns, that range, like I just mentioned, 16 kilometer maximum range without the module. Now, yes, you can take the module and get that out a little bit further. However, that's another issue. So if you do take the module, the main battery guns will be a lot more usable because you will now have a range of 18.9 kilometers, which is a lot more usable on a tier 10 cruiser. However, you are now giving yourself from the main purpose of the ship, which is of course its secondaries. And with the dispersion that the ship has at 16 kilometers, I can't really see the guns being useful at 19 kilometers, to be honest. If you want to have usable guns, you probably have to take the Aiming Systems Mod 1 module, which would again replace the all very important auxiliary armaments mod 2, oh sorry, mod 1 module, which gets your dispersion and reload time down on your secondaries, which again is the main feature of the Napoli. But again, for what it's designed to do, you don't need an 18 kilometer range. 16 kilometers is fine. It's just that you got to get in that situation to where you are within about 10 kilometers, and then the ship is like just almost perfect for that. But the secondaries, since we're on the guns, what are the secondaries like? The secondaries are very, very, very good. They are amazing. They are fantastic. They are beautiful when they work. And I say when they work because they're very good at absolutely chewing through cruisers and destroyers that you come across. And even some battleships too, because of their superstructure. And if you run into like some tier 8 battleships or some of the tier 10 battleships with the weaker armors like the Slava, the Borodino, the ships with the 25mm bow and extremities, it's quite good for chewing through that. On most other battleships, you're going to be getting pretty much all your damage from the superstructure. So, you know, Vermont, the German battleships with their massive superstructure, you'll be chewing through that, but you won't be able to chew through their deck armor and their side armor, of course, because most of those ships at tier 10 are, of course, covered in 32. So that most of your damage then is going to be coming from your 152s, which they do have a 5-second reload time, and they can pin to 42, but I mean, your 90s are going to be putting in most of the work with that 2.2 second reload time, so that's where most of your damage is going to be coming from. And remember too that these are SAP secondaries, meaning they cannot fire HE, meaning that you can't do what you can do on, let's say, the Pomeranian, who has a lot of 105s that can't pass the 32mm threshold. They're still great fire starters. You don't have that with SAP. So they're either very, very awesome and amazing and great, or almost useless. That's a very common theme with the Napoli from my experience playing her. Alright, what about our torpedoes? Torpedoes, Venezia torpedoes, throw another one on there. That's what they are. Throw them toward a channel, throw them toward where you think the enemy's coming from. You'll snag a torpedo here or there. In a close-in combat situation, they can still be used as, you know, of course, your trap card. And yeah, they're torpedoes. If you played Venezia, you know what to expect. Just throw another tube on there. AA, even with the auxiliary armaments modules equipped, AA still feels like it's Italian AA. Not much to see here. You can only equip the fighter plane, so yeah, you got that too. Fighter plane works sometimes it doesn't. That's just the nature of AA nowadays. Maneuverability, the ship actually feels really maneuverable. Like really maneuverable. That rudder shift time is really nice. That 12.5 second rudder shift time. This ship is, it doesn't turn on a dime, but it's definitely one of the more maneuverable super cruisers. I gotta give it that. It's good. It feels nice. It feels Italian. And that's a big pickup with the Italian cruisers right there. Speed's also really nice too, 37.3 knots. Pretty quick little boat there. Turning circle, it's nice and, well, it's not really tight, but it's, again, not massive like some of the other ones. The concealment is by far your saving grace on this ship, that 10.3 kilometer concealment. With a secondary build, you are just under a kilometer outside of your secondary range when you get spotted, meaning that if there's a DD that's spotting you, and you manage to spot him, there's a good chance he's already within your secondary range, and your secondaries, once he gets spotted, will absolutely rip him a new one. So, overall, how is the ship? So, the secondaries, which is of course what most of you guys want to know about, like I said, they are good. You don't have to set your priority target on them because this is a cruiser, not a battleship, and we don't have that skill, which means they're insanely accurate on both sides. So both sides can be firing at the same time with great accuracy. But the problem is when you're in a battleship and you're surrounded on both sides and you got both of your secondaries going off, that's a problem because you're flanked and you can't sustain that situation in a battleship. Even though the Napoli's armor is very good, it can't be flanked to be firing on both sides and be in a good situation, because even if it's like a DD on one side and, you know, most of the other ships on the other side, one side still has your flank. You got to choose to angle to one side, which means that if you choose to angle to the majority of the ships, sure, you're angled to them now, but now that DD has your side and can farm you or just torpedo you freely now. But in like a situation when a DD pops up on your all flank and, you know, you do have the majority of the enemy team on the other side of your ship. Sure, your secondaries might be able to catch it by surprise and melt through him pretty fast, but again, as good as they are, they're not death-starring DDs. They will absolutely maul them if they stay within the range for any extended period of time. Most DDs are smart enough to pop their smoke and get out of there. And sure, again, it can catch them by surprise if they go to try to flank you, and then they pop up, and then now they're getting melted, but still, it's not a good situation to be in with the Napoli. But yes, the secondaries are very good when you can use them. And that is my biggest thing about this ship. This ship is beyond situational. It is designed for engagements from about 12 kilometers, and more specifically from its secondary range in. From its secondary range in, this ship is amazing. The armor is great. You got that icebreaker bow. You got that very nice 60mm side armor, which allows you to push ships well above your weight class as long as you stay angled. I was bouncing Shiki shells, Thunderous shells, Slava shells, Kremlin shells in this thing when I was angled because of the side armor on this thing. It is fantastic for that. However, in every other conceivable situation, the ship is mediocre at best. For medium ranges, when you have to use your HE, the accuracy of the guns just isn't there to really make you an efficient HE spammer. It can do it, and sure, if RNG lines up, you can set a few fires, and you can burn a couple of ships down, maybe, but I played this ship a lot. This is one of my most played ships for a first impressions review. I already have, at time of recording, almost 100,000 XP on this ship. I played it from 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's 11 o'clock right now when I'm recording this portion of the review. It is so situational, and again, if it's not a close-in situation, it's not very good at what it's doing. But when it gets in those close-in situations, and it's close-quarters combat, and the sectors are going off, you're using your armor, you're using that Italian AP, it is a monster in that case, and it is great fun, too. This is a wonderful ship for those types of engagements. It's just sad that the game is in the state that it's in to where you can't utilize the ship a lot of the time. And like I said, yes, you can extend the firing range out to 19 kilometers, but your guns aren't going to be efficient at that range unless you build into them, which then, again, takes us back to what I said at the beginning, you have to build out of the whole point of the ship, which is its secondaries. So it's not worth building into that, so we go back to where it's a secondary-focused cruiser that is very, 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 very highly specialized for that task. And it is very good at that task, which is quite relieving. I was afraid that this ship was going to come out and wasn't going to be as good as we needed it to be a good secondary ship, but it is. So, if you want a super cruiser that is the king of close-in engagements from under 10 kilometers, and that will be an absolute beast in those engagements, this is your boat. If you want a super cruiser that can kind of fit the everything role, you know, it needs to do some long-range engagement, needs to be decent at medium-range engagements, and good at close-range engagements, I'd say get the Alaska if it was still available, but it's not. This isn't that. This is a highly specialized cruiser for close-quarters combat that they're charging $140 for, or 252,000 coal. Is it worth the coal? If you like to brawl, especially if you have Sansonetti, I imagine this thing's probably very, very, very good with Sansonetti on her. If you like to brawl, you like close-in engagements, and you got a lot of patience, because you absolutely cannot, like, go
I don't know. His mileage is better than mine as far as brawling with this ship. I wasn't impressed with it, so
and then pushing to maximize.
We're gonna go on a game minute just to see
your team. If you don't do that and you just try to go full monkey, you're going to get blasted. Like, the thing's got great armor, but we all know what happens with great armor that's good for close-in engagement at long range. You tend to explode when you get shot at long range with it, which is absolutely true with the Napoli. But again, close-in, when you can angle, it's great. So, if you like close-in engagements, the ship is the ship for you. I would not pay money for this ship. It is far too expensive for that. It is far too
Okay, you made a good point. It's not worth paying the cash for it. Guaranteed. Now, coal, it was 252,000 in coal. And I purchased it. I've had 5 games in it. I'm not impressed with it. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's one that's going to take a bit to warm up, or warm up to, so we'll see. As soon as this video's finished, we're going to go in the game client. We'll play an actual game in it and see how it does.
Specialized to put that much money into a digital item that is good for one role in this game that isn't even really in meta right now. To be honest, I wouldn't pay more than like, if this goes on stuff like $80, okay, maybe then, but still that's a lot of money to drop on a digital item. But at the end of the day, again, it's your money. If you like what you see here and you don't play the game a lot to where you can earn that much coal and you want to drop that cash on it, that's up to you. You're an adult, do what you want with your money, but my opinion, not really worth it. So overall, it's a fun ship in the right situation. It's super situational, but outside of that situation, the ship is mediocre at best. And that's my opinion of the new Tier 10 Italian Super Cruiser, the Napoli. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. When we did 30,000 subs, just past 27,400 a few days ago.
Okay, we're going to go to the Be Right Back screen, and then we'll load up the game client for a game. Sit back, sit tight, relax, and get comfortable. Enjoy the ride. Loading up the game client, so any questions, let me know. Any questions? Yeah, so as I said, I wasn't too impressed with this ship. And, you know, it's only 5 or 6 games in it, so we'll see. Let's go into a game. Rather, we'll go into a random battle. So more into the clan. I want to check the naval battle situation with our clan. Just to see how we're faring. We had a good battle going with an EU clan. See where we're at. Okay, we're ahead 62 to 53. Cool. Okay. So the Napoli. Here's the Napoli. See what flags we're going to put on her. As far as I can see, it needs. I got a lot of economy flags on. I was going to play a game in it yesterday, then I switched to. I like the Siegfried and Auger, both Tier 9 German large cruisers. I prefer them. They're just great ships from my perspective. Very utilitarian, very durable. And same with, I like the Yoshino. That's just a different kettle of fish also. And I like the Puerto Rico. Believe it or not, I prefer the Puerto Rico over the Alaska. And so far, Napoli at Tier 10, I think Venezia is a better ship, but let's give it more of a whirl and see what happens. Let's go into battle. Let's go to the live game screen. Okay, we're cycling right into the battle queue now. Let's see what we're up against. Tier 10 top to bottom. We got 3 destroyers on each side. Aircraft carrier. Now, a lot depends on the quality of aircraft carrier. It's not as easy a ship to play as people make it out to be. I have a few just to get to know what it's about. I do not care much for aircraft carrier play, but if a guy knows what he's doing, he can do quite well. But as I said, it's not an easy class to play. Everybody thinks you just get a good ship, go in, you're going to do great damage. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, so we're going to go A on this side. Let our team know. Now I've got this outfitted for range because at just over 16 kilometers main battery guns, forget it, it's no good. Just can't get in too early. People say the armor's good, but if you play like me, which is a running gun, and you're kiting a lot, the rear is very vulnerable on this ship. And also bow on is vulnerable. Got to be angled a certain way, and hopefully they don't get a lucky shot or you're going to get hurt. That's been my experience so far.
Enemy force detected. Fighter airborne. Torpedoes, direct front.
Ah, shoot. Okay, got friggin' torpedoes going. I managed to get around them.
Enemy cruiser sighted.
Ah, friggin' right over. Can you believe it? I really am not impressed with the dispersion on these shells. Oh, there we go. That's the first time I got a good half-decent AP shot with these shells.
Enemy destroyer detected.
Is the first time, baby? Come on. Give me that crap. Pathetic. $6.15. 1845. Slightly out of my range, can't do much about it. Try and get our guns over.
Torpedoes, dead ahead.
We're gonna need one
Torpedoes to
torp.
port.
Can't get around it.
Hull breach. We're taking on water quickly. Problem solved, sir. Concentrate fire on the enemy warship. Get back!
Nice if somebody could get a cap on this side. Hello, folks. Yes, we could use a cap. Thank you. Come on. Fall friggin' short like that, that's friggin' bullcrap. That was another half-decent hit I got. We got lucky with a couple hits on this Indy.
Enemy destroyer detected.
Ah, come on. Friggin' just don't have the range. Come on, guns, get around.
Attention, reporting the target position. Enemy battleship sighted.
I don't know why our DDs don't friggin' cap. Like, what gives here? What do I gotta go in the cap? The only way we're gonna get the cap? Like, what? You know, I'm in a cruiser. Like, it just doesn't make sense. What's wrong with these birds? Like, two friggin' DDs around here. Neither one's capping. And we just lost one of them. Not a single friggin' cap. Can you believe it? The only reason we're getting this cap is because I'm going in.
The enemy team has taken the lead. Roger. Fighter airborne. Smoke generator started. Concentrate fire on the designated target. Smoke screen set.
Friggin' Gearing's not even still way up there. I don't know what he's trying to do. Just trying to get friggin' damage.
The enemy team has taken the lead.
Friggin' dopies.
Torpedoes astern. Torpedoes astern. Reporting the target position. The ship is on fire. Attention. Reporting the target position. Torpedoes to port. Fighter airborne. Problem solved, sir.
The only reason why we got a cap's for me getting the cap. Friggin' 2 DDs right here, neither one could cap. One's gone and the other one's nearly gone. Like, come on. Unfriggin' believable. Ah, come on. Unfriggin' believable. I really do not like these shells on this ship, to be honest with you.
Fighter returning to ship.
See how this goes. Ah, lucked out. Never got that much HE damage before.
Enemy cruiser detected. All stations reporting the position of a strategic target.
How the friggin' managed to get... Well, it's through the back. As I said, the back on this thing is pathetic.
Enemy destroyer sighted.
Again, 58. Unbelievable.
Enemy cruiser detected. Smoke generator started.
Come on, buddies, let's get off this rail. 4-5, 2-4-5. Each team's got 5 ships left. Very close battle, but they're way ahead in the leaderboard.
Smoke screen set.
Look, that was terrible. What the frig? To burn this guy right up. Mind you, there's only 16% chance of fire with these shells.
Battle ends in 5
All
minutes.
stations reporting the position of a strategic target.
Okay, we finally got him.
Enemy battleship sunk.
We got him. Okay, now we got 2 out of 3 cabs. We had 4 ships to their 3, so just over 4 minutes left. It's going to be close. If we can get that B cap would be great. We got 1 DD left. Where the heck this guy is. Sweet. Well done.
That was a great battle.
Double strike. Well, looks like we're going to pull off a win here. Got 3.5 minutes left. We're catching up on the leaderboard. Okay, any questions, throw in chat. Game over. We got the win. Guy rammed it. I actually got a few good hits that time. First time I got some half-decent hits with this ship. 2 Citadels. How'd we do overall? Came in number 3. Not too bad. 16 planes. Z-planes, boss. Z-planes. Okay, so that's going to give you an idea of how this... I would like to play one more game, but I've got to go, guys. Got to cut out early today. Unfortunately, I have to... during this health crisis, there's certain things that have come up that I've got to take care of. Just remember, people, COVID-19... Let's go to the live street scene. Okay, so this COVID-19, it's real. By now, you should finally figure out this is real. It's a global pandemic. Get vaccinated. If you have underlying health conditions, you need to consult with a doctor. If you're not sure, consult with a doctor. Get a second opinion from a doctor. Do not rely on other funnels to provide you with de facto facts. Not going to happen. We've got people spreading a lot of misinformation, personal biases. Your health is priceless. And some people say, well, God, you know, if it's meant to be God. Well, the thing is, there's always an argument for that. You know, nature's what it is. We've dealt with polio, smallpox, many other things over the course of many years. Meningitis, vaccines work well. So maybe the formula came from the upper realms. So, you know, there's an argument one way or another. But the fact of the matter is, millions and millions of these shots have taken place around the world. And it's worked out very well. Now we have a Delta variant, which, you know, because everybody's slow to embrace what needs to be done and haven't taken this serious, these things mutate. All this virus wants is a host. It's got no political affiliation with any party whatsoever. Just wants a host. It attacks the RNA in the body, and once the body's depleted of RNA, that's daisy time. That's 6 feet under looking at daisies. You're in a cardboard box, or maybe you can afford a proper casket if that's what you need. You know, you come from this earth, you're going to go back to this earth. So, COVID-19 is real. The only way to get around it, get vaccinated. And now, because of the Delta variant, we need to wear masks when we're out in public. Got no choice. You might say, well, it infringes upon my liberties and civil rights, and I call out bullshit. And I'll tell you why. You're imposing your will on other people, which denies them the ability to have free will and choice to live a full and happy life because of your obstinance and misunderstanding about how this affects other people. This is not a civil rights issue, it's a public health issue. So smarten up. If you're not sure, get some professional help, see a doctor, and get yourself educated about the ins and outs, why it's important. So I'd like to leave that with you. Understand, once again, your health is priceless. No money in the world's going to buy it. And if you think God's going to save you, that's a stupid way to think, because he gave you all the tools you need to make sure you take care of yourself, and he's expecting you to do that. So take care, be good. Talk to you soon, folks. Next weekend, 10 a.m. New York time, we go live again. Thanks for watching. Be good, stay safe, and remember, you are magnificent.